Neighbor took my parking spot after I shoveled. I poured water in his windshield. It was a cold winter day. 8 inches of snow had fallen the night before, and the wind chill made it feel as if it were in the negatives Fahrenheit. I drive an all-wheel drive SUV, so I have no issues getting out. My wife on the other hand drives a Prius, which slides with the smallest amount of moisture on the road. My car was down at the time, so we had to take my wife's car. I spent 45 minutes in the freezing cold shoveling that car out so we could get to the store. We were gone for an hour, and when we came back, our neighbor had taken the spot I had shoveled. Our apartment complex doesn't have assigned parking, but in the winter, it's understood that if you shovel a spot, it's yours. So when I saw his car in the spot I had just shoveled, I was pretty pissed. I went inside and filled 2-gallon jugs of water, went back out and poured them on his windshield. Rinse and repeat. I must have poured about 10 gallons of water on his car. Being how cold it was already freezing by the time I poured the last gallon on. It sat like that overnight. The next morning, I got to watch as he helplessly tried to scrape all of these layers of ice off his windshield. Don't take my goddamn parking spot.
What is the worst thing you have found on someone else's phone? An old friend of mine called me frantically requesting I come to his house because he needed a witness. He feared his then wife was about to call cops and accuse him of violence. I don't live close, but I was concerned and drove over. They live in a cul-de-sac and I could hear the screaming before I got in the door. When I opened the door, he was at the top of the stairs trying to explain she is crazy. She was trying to explain that my friend is a perv. So, of course my immediate thought was he must have been caught effing around. Well, to my shock and disappointment, she managed to yank the phone from him and she immediately started scrolling to pictures. She had to show me to convince me that my buddy have known for over a decade is a perv. She showed a deep pic. I was like, gross but okay. He started yelling that ISNT me, which made me even more uncomfortable because now my buddy is admitting to receiving PP pics. No. He had taken the picture and had sent it to his wife's co-worker's daughter. She was 12.
What screams, "This person peaked in high school," to you? Under college/university in their Facebook profile, it says, "School of Hard Knocks." They keep insisting for the next 30 years that they would have taken state, if coach would have put them in the game. One guy I knew literally got our school emblem and mascot in a huge, class of 2010, tattooed on his shoulder. Still going to every high school football game and sitting in the student section, skull emoji. The people that ask you to join those MLM schemes, selling body wraps, or the like, anyone that has a Salt Life decal on their car when they live nowhere near the ocean, or even a salt mine. I used to work with a guy, we used to call him Roid Rage. He was very muscular, very masculine, and let everybody know both those things about him constantly. One day I'm sitting next to him in the break room and he's talking to me, unprompted as always, about how he went to attend an award ceremony for his son who won something regarding his football performance. I said, "Well, that was nice of you to go and support him." "Nice," he said, "it was freaking sad, man. That used to be me. Now I'm the old guy in the room who has to watch someone else win something I should have had." And all I could think was, what a loser. You can't just be happy your son won this award and be proud of him. You have to make it about you. My mother-in-law is trying to seduce me and I can't take it anymore. I have been married to my wife for about 2 years. My wife didn't have a good relationship with her mother growing up. Mother-in-law convinced my wife to let her stay at our place for a few weeks. I didn't like the idea but agreed because my wife wanted it. I work from home and my wife works from her office. Mother-in-law mostly hangs out in her lingerie. I have to put up seeing her naked every morning when she makes her coffee, a lot of inappropriate touching and contact between me and her. My wife always defended her mother and asked me to just tolerate her for a little more time. I used to tell my wife everything that her mother would do to me, but eventually she knew what was happening and stopped discussing it. On many occasions, mother-in-law has explicitly stated her desire to hook up with me among a lot of other sexual desires.
What's the most you've seen someone change from high school to your class reunion? A girl I went to school with was always picked on because her parents were poor. Her mother worked in a minimum wage job and her dad didn't work at all. To be honest, I don't know how people even noticed her enough to bully her, as she was always quiet and came in and out of class unnoticed. Even the teachers didn't pay attention to her. She was left behind the class all the time. At school she always, I hate to say this, took the bullying and never once ever complained. That's the best way I can describe it. I remember her as always of average looks and intelligence while we were at school and very skinny. Once we left school, everybody went their separate ways. Last year she surfaced on Facebook with a family. And also a degree from Cambridge University. It turns out she had joined the Army and went through officer training at Sandhurst and is a captain in the Army Air Corps. She has pictures of her tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. The quiet girl who got bullied was a very intelligent, tough person. Who I suppose we all want to be ourselves. What is your but wait? It gets worse story. Walked in on my ex having sex with a girl and a guy. I was shocked and asked what the heck is going on. She goes mad at me and tells that it's all my fault for not being with her all time, but wait. It gets worse. Told her it was time for her to move out of my house. I was disturbed and didn't walk out of the house for 3 days, and then she shows up to get her stuff and smashes me in the face with a table lamp. Police show up and arrest me, but wait. It gets worse. I've been sitting in the cell for a few hours, then 2 detectives come and take me to an interrogation room. They first asks me weird questions about which I have no idea. They have my pistol sitting on the table along with ammo and a few knives. Okay, no big deal, but wait. It gets worse. One of the detectives leaves. Comes back a minute later and slams a sawed-off shotgun onto the table. What the heck? Apparently her new boyfriend had hidden it in the furnace room. Took 7 years and cost about 10. Oh, in lawyer's fees to get my record cleared, but wait. It gets worse. Bitch gave me HPV.